New My Hero summary, let's get right into it, but before we do that, just check out my TikTok, I just started posting on there. It would mean a lot. Now let's get into the summary. Somewhere in a deserted building, the League of Villains meet with Overhaul, the leader of the Yakuza group, Shie Hasaikai. I know he's the son of the leader, but he's basically the leader. Overhaul asks Tomura who's going to step in to fill All for One's shoes now that he's locked away, and the masked mobster suggests to the League that they work under him, being that he has one thing they do not. A plan. Tomura is expectedly irritated, and after a small skirmish with both sides losing one member, Overhaul suggests they talk again with cooler heads, and leaves for the time being.
He leaves his business card, though.
Back at UA, Midoriya follows Gran Torino's advice and asks All Might to introduce him to his former sidekick, Night Eye, in order to work at his agency for his hero work study, but due to personal reasons, All Might is unwilling to introduce young Midoriya. So he asks Mirio, who currently does his work study at Night Eye's agency, to be the middleman. So, Mirio takes the youngster to visit his mentor, and tells him there's one thing he must do to make a strong impression. Make him laugh. Midoriya fails miserably at this, but impresses Night Eye in another way, with his deep and impressive knowledge of All Might. But Night Eye still isn't convinced he'd be useful to him, so he sets him the task of sealing his seal within 3 minutes, an almost impossible task with his foresight quirk. He expresses his belief that Mirio should have been the one to inherit One for All, and that he doesn't accept him as All Might's successor, and though this fuels Midoriya's motivation, he fails in his task. Nevertheless, Night Eye decides to take him on, hoping that he will give up One for All to Mirio once he works alongside the pros. The next day, Midoriya officially kicks off his work study and does patrols with Mirio, where a scared little girl bumps into him, after running away from Chisaki.
Midoriya recognizes him, because Night Eye revealed their secret investigation of the Shie Hasaikai to him, due to some recent strange movements from the group.
Though they have been ordered not to raise Chisaki's suspicions, Midoriya can't simply let this trembling child, Eri, go back to him. Though after the villain flashes his murderous intent for a mere second, Eri immediately jumps out of Midoriya's arms, back to her father.
Not her father.
In the following days, Midoriya is unable to focus on his classes because of the incident, so he finds All Might and has him divulge what happened between him and Night Eye in the past. He reveals that the two parted ways after disagreeing on his future. Night Eye wanted him to retire after defeating All for One, whereas All Might felt the symbol of peace was still needed. And years later, when All Might chose Midoriya to be his successor, Night Eye immediately opposed the idea, making the rift between them even larger. Night Eye's foresight predicted he would die 6 or 7 years into the future, meaning he has at most a year to live. But he promises young Midoriya he will fight that fate, as the youngster vows to twist fate with him. At the Shie Hasaikai's base, Tomura visits to agree on a tentative partnership, but first wants to hear this plan of Chisaki's, which has something to do with a drug that prevents people from using their quirks. Kirishima, on his work study with Fat Gum, where the third-year Amajiki also works, comes across this drug, as well as one that boosts quirks, and Red Riot is able to put his improved hardening quirk into action against some outlaws. Some time later, Midoriya, Kirishima, Uraraka, and Asui all head to their work study, but end up going to the same place, where many heroes are gathered to discuss the Shie Hasaikai's plans. Night Eye's sidekicks lead the meeting, where Fat Gum reveals that the bullet containing the drug that is able to temporarily destroy someone's quirk contains human blood and cells inside. It is then revealed that Chisaki's quirk, Overhaul, allows him to disassemble and restore things, meaning he and Eri are likely connected to the quirk-destroying bullets.
Mirio and Midoriya are devastated when they hear this.
Night Eye calls on all the heroes gathered to discover Eri's location, and when the meeting concludes, the UA students meet, and Mirio and Midoriya vow to save Eri next time they see her. Days pass as the heroes search for Eri's location, until Night Eye eventually lucks out, and manages to discover that she is being held at the Shie Hasaikai stronghold. So, at 8:30 a.m., the heroes and work-study students commence the operation to retrieve Eri, but the police's search warrant isn't greeted cooperatively. Ryukyu and her work-study students hold back one of the Hasaikai, and as many other heroes hold off dozens of other members, Night Eye leads the way to the hidden underground passage.
He uses foresight quirk on one of Chisaki's men. That's how he knows the way.
However, the director of the Yakuza group, Irinaka, uses his mimic quirk to control the concrete, as he drops everyone but Mirio to a lower level.
The perks of his quirk.
The diffident Amajiki takes on 3 of the 8 bullets of the Hasai group on his own, in order to allow the others to move ahead, and thinking of his best friend Mirio motivates him to overcome their teamwork against the odds.
Gee, who are you showing off for using these kinds of words? We don't know what it means.
Geez, it's a nice word though, no? Like and subscribe because I use that word, come on. As the group continue on, Fatgum and Kirishima save Eraserhead, but are taken out of the chase as they get thrust into a 2-on-2 fight. Fatgum absorbs the relentless Rappa's attacks, and after some classic anime self-reflection, Kirishima steps in to protect his master, giving him the opportunity to return all the damage he took to his opponents. As the main group continue on, they are split up and have to deal with Toga and Twice from the League of Villains, who are acting as temps in the Shiya Saikai's operation. They incapacitate the hero Rocklock and slow the heroes down, then they let them do their thing to subdue Irinaka.
Clearly they have a separate goal to the Hasaikai here.
Further ahead, Meteor catches up to Chisaki and takes down 2 bullets of the Hasai group, then rescues Eri from Chisaki's assistant Chronostasis. But the 2 Yakuza aren't going to let him get away that easily, yet he seems to have the upper hand with the masterful use of his quirk. That is, until one of the fallen members, Nemoto, grabs one of the bullets made to destroy quirks, aims it at Eri, and fires. The bullet hits its intended target as Meteor loses his quirk, but not his resolve, and he continues to fight admirably against Chisaki, until eventually, the masked villain overcomes him. Before he can definitively finish him off, Deku, Eraserhead, and Night Eye burst through the wall in time to stop him. Chisaki then uses his quirk to combine with his subordinate Nemoto, thus recovering his injuries, and Eraserhead is taken out of the fight by Chronostasis. Night Eye steps in to allow the boys to escape with Eri, though he can't hold on for long against the overhaul quirk. Oh, that's terrible! Now like and subscribe, please. Deku is enraged when he sees his boss impaled, and jumps in to fight, but he too can't seem to find a way around the Yakuza's relentless attacks. Eri, unable to bear the weight of all the pain caused in order to save her, returns to Chisaki, but before she can go to him, Ryukyu and her students burst through the ceiling to help.
Toga used her quirk to get them to fall exactly in the right spot.
Why would she help them out? Keep watching if you want to know.
Eri uses her uncontrollable rewind quirk to split Chisaki from the subordinate he'd fused with, then jumps into Deku's arms to allow him to save her.
He fuses with another one right after, though.
Eri is the granddaughter of the Shiya Hasai's incapacitated boss. Didn't really know where to put that in the summary. She also accidentally killed her dad and her mom left her, so yeah. Let's get back to the smooth summary. Deku understands that Eri is unable to control her power, so decides to use 100% of his power to match with Eri's rewind quirk.
The goal being to heal his injuries as fast as he sustains them.
Mini flashback.
Chisaki was taken in by the leader of the Hasaikai as a young boy, and has been trying to repay him ever since, but his cruel plan to use Eri to control society went against his master's ideals. So, he used his overall quirk to incapacitate him, letting him sit back and relax as he restores the Yakuza to their former glory.
Yeah, it looks real relaxing, you fucking psychopath.
Now, that dream of his comes to an end when Midoriya uses his full power to smash him into the ground. Then as Eri's quirk works against Midoriya rather than for him, Eraserhead arrives to put a stop to it.
Midoriya is the first to change the future Night Eye saw, where he's the one who lost his life, and Chisaki won.
With the fight over, the injured are rushed to the hospital, and the restrained Hasaikai members transported to the villain hospital. But on the way there, the police are stopped in their tracks by the League of Villains, and they retrieve the box of quirk-destroying bullets from them. Then Tomura rubs salt into Chisaki's wound, before destroying his arms and retreating from the scene, stating that it is now their turn. At a nearby university hospital, Eri is being kept in quarantine for the time being, and all the injured are expected to make a full recovery. Everyone, that is, except Night Eye. All Might finally visits his friend on his deathbed after years apart, and Midoriya and Mirio gather around as well, sobbing and begging him to live. He assures his protege that he will be the finest hero, and with his last words, encourages him to smile, for a society without cheer and humor will not have a bright future. Around the same time, Gran Torino and the police capture Kurogiri, but let one of All For One's most loyal disciples, Gigantomachia, escape. Back at school, All Might and Present Mike take Todoroki and Bakugo to the Provisional License training course, where they are faced with perhaps the most difficult test in their short UA careers, to win the hearts of some problem children. As onlookers, Endeavor has a chat with All Might, where he asks him what the symbol of peace is, and the retired #1 hero tells his peer that he doesn't need to copy his example, but rather find his own way of leading hero society. Though the students have some trouble with the bratty children, they find a way to win them over, and after the class ends, Endeavor tells his son that he will become a hero he can be proud of. Thereafter, the work studies are put on hold, and classes resume as normal. Hold on, these kids are in grade 9 and they're learning logarithmic equations? The West must be dumb as fuck, 'cause this is what I was learning in grade 9.
and Midoriya and Aoyama become unexpected friends in a creepy way.
Then the time comes for something more lighthearted for the students to get excited about. The school festival. After much deliberation, Class 1A come to a decision to do a live concert to help relieve the stress felt by all around the school due to recent incidents.
And Midoriya and Mirio plan to have Eri attend too, to help cheer her up.
Elsewhere in the city, a man who goes by the name Gentle Criminal commits petty crimes across the city and uploads videos of them online. However, his videos don't perform so well.
Relatable.
So for his next big act, he plans to break into UA during the school festival in the hopes of garnering attention. Class 1A continue with their concert preparations with the music-savvy Jiro leading the way, and with the whole school occupied with the festival, Eri takes a tour of the school with Midoriya and Mirio.
Literally one of the cutest things I've ever seen.
On the day of the school festival, after Midoriya's routine training with All Might, he rushes to pick up some items from the nearby hardware store, and runs into Gentle Criminal on his way back. He had seen a recent video of his, and is aware he's planning a big stunt, so he connects the dots and suspects his target is UA. With a lot of people's work riding on the festival, and Eri looking forward to it, Midoriya is determined to stop anything from putting a halt to it. So, the two clash, but even with Midoriya's new support item courtesy of Hatsume, combined with all the practice to gain more acute control over his quirk, Gentle's elasticity quirk turns out to be too slippery for Midoriya to counter.
He can bestow elasticity to anything he touches, even air.
How the fuck does that work?
Even after he captures him and his partner, La Brava, she uses her quirk that makes the person she loves stronger corresponding to how much she loves them. Whew, that was painful to say. Then after an unimportant but honestly pretty sad backstory, Midoriya outlasts Gentle's strength boost, but he sends him flying just before the heroes arrive, then turns himself in, saving La Brava from the same fate.
Isn't that sweet?
Though he cuts it close, Midoriya makes it back just in time for the concert which blows everyone away, and manages to make Eri break out into a big smile.
And this isn't important, but Haru wins the beauty pageant, so yeah.
Soon after, for the first time since the Kamino incident with All for One, the Japanese hero Billboard chart announces its rankings, with Endeavor coming in to take All Might's vacant #1 spot. The youngest in the top 10 and the #2 hero Hawks asks Endeavor to team up, after hearing some troubling eyewitness reports in his hometown. Then after the two head to Kyushu, and Hawks tells him of some rumors of Nomu sightings popping up around the country, they are conveniently attacked by one out of nowhere.
It can talk and think too.
This high-end Nomu splits off multiple weaker Nomus from its body to occupy the other heroes, and it overwhelms Endeavor at first. But his stubbornness, along with some help from Hawks, pushes him beyond his limit, as his prominence burn reduces his enemy to ashes. And so, with the smoke clear and the family he neglected and treated so poorly watching on with worry, the new #1 hero stands with his fist raised high.
That looks familiar.
And lastly, in a dream, Deku enters the consciousness of One for All, where he sees all the previous holders, as well as the first standing up to his brother All for One, who then acknowledges him, and seems to awaken some power within him. That's Season 4 summary, coming to an end. We got Season 5 to do, and now that Season 6 is over, that'll be after that, so stay tuned for those two coming up. And again, let me remind you, check out my TikTok, I'm starting to post on there, along with Instagram as well. Check that out, I guess. Check out YouTube Shorts. I'll probably post the same things I do on TikTok. But we'll see. I'm just trying to expand the channel, find different ways to grow it. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys for watching. If you made it this far, you know what to do. Hit that like and subscribe button. Take it easy, and peace.